The government is trying to rebuild confidence in the mining sector. Investors are gathering for the Mining Indaba in Cape Town, of course, a massive gathering. Let's speak to a man who knows a lot about these sort of gatherings and what it means potentially for South Africa and the rest of the world, as far as we're concerned. Mr. Iraj Abedian from the Pan-African Capital Holdings Organisation, the Chief Executive, I might add as well. Iraj, good morning to you. As always, a pleasure talking to you. How are investors feeling at the moment?
Very jittery, very full of doubts and concerns. They've had all the nightmarish events in the mining sector. We've had a labor killing. We've had the minister attacking, which is fairly unusual, threatening the mining industry, and particularly Anglo-Plat. So it's not a very happy environment within the mining company and the investment community, which backs our mining industry.
So Susan Shabangu having a very difficult task at the moment, saying that she wants to improve investor confidence in the South African mining industry. How does she perhaps go about doing that?
Well, she is making promises. She is trying to make gestures that are friendly, as opposed to 2 weeks ago, where she was very aggressive and unfriendly. And that's a bit of a regaining a bit of lost ground. And of course, in that, there is a bit of credibility issue. The minister coming out 2 weeks ago with a different tone. Today, the investors are saying which side is real.
They call it yo-yoing. One of the big publications called it a few weeks ago, which I imagine someone in your position as an analyst and an investor does not want to be having on their front desks when they look at the papers.
Absolutely, especially now in an environment where all other technical factors are against investment in the mining. By that I mean cost structures, lack of electricity prices going up, labor unrest, and so on and so forth. In this environment, you don't want then the regulator also coming on top of everything, salt in the wound, so to speak.
So what do we want to try and achieve out of this Mining Indaba? Is it damage control or is it real progress?
For us, it's definitely damage control. Of course, the Mining Indaba is not about South Africa. Mining Indaba is about global mining, but more specifically about Africa. And that's another key issue that is new in our mining sector. We now have the rest of Africa competing very effectively with South African investors. I mean, if you look at the proportion of global exploration funding that goes into South Africa has dropped dramatically, because exploration doesn't pay in South Africa. The regulator is not supporting it, is in fact inhibiting it with all kinds of administrative and other efficiencies, whereas the rest of Africa is very open to that type of investment.
Speaking of administrative issues, platinum, as many people might know, we're one of the biggest producers of platinum. How dangerous is this for the industry as far as platinum is concerned when you have Anglo-Plat reporting the losses that they've reported, potential job losses? That's backwards and forwards at the moment. How dangerous is that for that sector for South Africa?
Well, the sector as a whole has been in trouble for the past 3 years. Anglo-Plat is now showing the result of the past 3 years, and other mining companies, other platinum companies are not in a much better position. But Anglo, being 40% global producer, is obviously hardest hit. And that has got to do with the global conditions. Global demand for platinum has gone down dramatically. At the same time, the recycled platinum is now becoming a competitor for miners. And the fact that the global platinum market is aflush, literally, with platinum and stocks, it means that for the next couple of years they're going to be in trouble.
Iraj, I do want to fit this last question in. I like to call it a takeaway, if you will. In 20 seconds, as briefly as you can, what do you want out of the Mining Indaba? What does Iraj want to hear from the Mining Indaba?
I think we want to restore South Africa's credibility as an investment destination of choice. Enormous amount of mineral capacity in this country for the next 60 to 80 years. And we need to manage that resource very, very carefully in order to unlock benefits for it, for the workers, for the nation, and for the taxpayer.
Always a pleasure having you on the show. Wonderful chatting to you as always. Iraj Abedian, the Chief Executive of Pan-African Holdings. A massive pleasure to have him on the show. We'll have bites from that interview later in the morning.